Happy Thanksgiving! This is the Opt-in Podcast. I am your host, Melissa Franks, and this is where we go from surviving to thriving in business. It is unlikely that you are listening to this podcast on this day, the day before Thanksgiving, the 2 days before Black Friday, but whether you are or it's right after, this is your holiday season survival guide for business owners or anybody that works in a business. As I was preparing for this podcast today, I came up with 10 things that I want to cover, which is your checklist, your survival guide of 10 things for the holiday season. I love the business of the holiday season. And the reason for that is because I grew up professionally in retail. I don't talk about it a lot, but when I was before I turned 16, I applied for a job. An outlet center, I'm aging myself here, was just opening in our community, which meant there was a gluttony of jobs available to teenagers that wanted to work. And the cool thing is that the outlet center was opening 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. So that meant that they knew it was, A, they were brand new, so they were going to be busy. B, it was holiday season, so they were going to be even busier. So they were literally just hiring warm bodies wherever they could. And that first taste of busy, energetic, selling, all of the things, just, I don't know, it lit a fire in me. I love to sell anything. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. And that very first job at 16 led to a very long career in the retail space. I worked for a variety of retailers, all different sizes of businesses, all sorts. I literally sold handbags and bras and jeans and suits, you name it, I have sold it. And I have learned a lot over the holiday season, you see, because I didn't just work in a store. I also worked in corporate offices. I actually worked on the strategy of the holiday season. I got to work with the planners and how they made decisions about what products to put in the store. I eventually moved to store technology, and that was where I got to ensure that all of the things were working right for stores. I remember this one holiday season that I was fresh out of college, and one of the things that they had us do in the corporate office is we had to go work in a store on Black Friday. So even though we didn't work in stores anymore, they still sent us in. So I was in a store on Black Friday, and I get called to the cash wrap where all the cash registers are with an urgent phone call. I'm like, well, this can't be good. It's Black Friday. Who the heck is trying to call me? It was one of the senior vice presidents of the company, furious. Why was he furious? Because the gift card system was down and it was Black Friday. Now, did I know it was down? Nope. Was it my problem to solve? Also, no. However, I was the only person he could get a hold of, and for whatever reason, he thought to call the store that I was in to find me, and then I had to solve the problem. And it was really just that spirit of how to save the day, how to save the sale, how to do any of those things is the energy that I am bringing to this top 10 list for you for the holiday season. The very first thing I want to talk about is how to prepare, because what we do know about the holiday season is that our teams, whether they're contractors, whether they're service providers, whether they're employees, they're going to take time off. Is this surprising to you? Because it should not be. You know what also is going to happen is everybody's going to want the same days off. So the first thing that you need to do is collect everybody's time off requests. Know what they plan to do. You need to do all of the normal things that you would do. Do they have, if you do paid vacation, do they have enough to take? You need to work through everything. And then you need to take a look at what the business needs during that period of time. What does the business need to be supported, to handle anything with clients or customers? What's necessary? And then can we meet that need based on these requests? And if the answer is no, then you need to solve those problems. If the answer is yes, cool. Another thing that you may need to look at is everybody off? Literally, is everybody asking for the same days off? You're a small business. It might be your decision then to just shut the business down for a few days. If everybody's taking the day after Christmas off, for example, you might just say hey, clients, we're closed for the day. We'll get back to you on the 29th or whenever you decide to reopen. You want to take a look at what the time off looks like. You want to have a process in place so that you can approve it or challenge it. And frankly, and this is just a best practice for the future, every time somebody asks for time off, they should be coming forward to you not just with their request, their plan for who is going to back them up while they're gone. Who is going to monitor their function? Who's going to take over key tasks for them? If they come forward and ask you for time off and don't have a plan for what to do with the work that they're leaving stranded, that's rejected until they come back with a plan. What will end up happening in these situations where their time off overlaps with somebody else's is that they'll eventually come to you and say, we don't know what to do because everybody's out. And then you, as the business owner, can make a decision about what to do and how to manage it. So the other thing that you need to do, because we just talked about your team's time off, is you actually need to think about yourself. When are you taking time off? When are you spending time with your family? When are you going on that annual vacation? When are you doing whatever it is that you're doing? Last year, we started working with an e-commerce business. I've talked about this a ton right before the holiday season. And at day one, we knew that the CEO and the owner were planning to take 3 weeks off in December. We knew. And so what we also knew was that we weren't. Because if they were gone, somebody needed to be in charge. And in this case, it defaulted to us. That's how this needs to work. If you're the owner or the CEO or the one in charge or the whatever, you also need to consider the time off that you want to take. And when you're approving time off requests from the team, you also need to see who you can delegate to if you're going to be out at the same time, or you need to manage your time off so you're not out the same time that they're out, or whatever, or whatever, or whatever. But as you're looking at time off, which was the first thing that we talked about, you need to evaluate your time off too and ensure that there's a holistic plan for the business to continue to run when there are absences by yourself or others on the team. Number 3 is... it's my favorite. Determine what you care about between now and the end of the year. It should be a really short list. 1, 2, 3 things only. What do you care about? If you are a business that has a very big holiday season, my guess is what you're caring about, number 1, is sales. Number 2, maybe it's customer experience. And number 3, maybe it's keeping your employees happy and productive during the busy season. I don't know. But you need to determine what you care about at the end of the year. If you don't have a busy holiday season, but maybe you have a goal that you're running towards for the end of the year, figure that out. Maybe you are an entrepreneur that fourth quarter is not a thing for you, and what you care about the most is ensuring that you're set up for success in January. Whatever it may be, right now, today, whenever you are hearing this, whether it's before Black Friday or after, determine what you care about between now, whatever now is for you, and the end of the year, and declare it. Make sure everybody knows. This is the top priority. Anything that helps us achieve this, maintain this, ensure this, that will beat out anything else all freaking day long. Make sure your whole team knows, make sure your family knows, make sure your friends know, make sure everybody understands where your line of focus and the priority is so that you can meet the mark. In addition, between now and the end of the year, you need to plan for January. This cannot wait until tomorrow. You need to plan for January. Why? Because the rest of this year is going to exhaust you in more ways than one. You've either overcommitted in your personal life and you're struggling to keep business up to pace, or your business is just growing like gangbusters because it's the holiday season, or you're stressed out because you're missing targets. I mean, I could go on with scenarios all day long. Regardless, if you don't plan for January, what's going to happen is you're going to get to January with no plan. And January with no plan means an unsuccessful January. How can you achieve goals that you haven't defined? It's not possible. So right now, today, determine what your plan for January is, because the other thing that it's going to tell you is things that you need to do in the month of December to make January successful. Because the last time I checked, it is very, very rare that a business can decide on the first of the month what to do and then achieve it within 30 days. So whatever your plan is for January, ensure that you have it now. Ensure that you know what steps you need to take in the month of December so that you can start January off successfully, and you can implement that plan that you so thoughtfully put in place right now. Okay, building on top of that, the fourth thing on your survival guide is goal setting. Now, I am going to make an educated guess that because you're listening to this podcast, you have listened to the other podcasts, specifically the ones telling you to plan fourth quarter in September. And I'm going to assume that you took that advice, and that means that what you're doing this time of year is you're executing. And when you're executing, it's mostly your team that's executing, which means you have white space to goal set. Fourth quarter is the time that I recommend you set your goals for the next year. Now, you may be coming at me right now and saying, but I don't know how the year ended, so how am I supposed to set up goals for the next year? You've got a good idea of how it's going to end. You have an incredibly good idea around how the last 10 or 11 months have gone. You have enough information to decide what to do next year. Now, you don't have to do this in 2 hours. There are about 5 to 6 weeks between Black Friday and January 1st. You have plenty of time. Planning should be intentional and mindful and slow. You need to be able to do analysis. We have talked about this a lot. In order to know what to do again, you need to see what worked. In order to see what worked, you have to actually look at the data. In order to look at the data, you might have to collect the data. And in some cases, you may not be sure what you should look at to make these decisions and what is meaningful. So you may need to ask for help. Goal setting is not a party of one activity. You're going to want to get input from other people. You might want to workshop some things. You might want to stress test some things. Heck, you might even want to read a book or two to figure it out. One of the books that I always recommend for anybody that is new to goal setting is the 12-week year. It is tried and true. There's even a workbook that goes with it. If you're not quite sure how to plan, that is a really, really great place to start. Fourth quarter is where the best laid plans are made because you have time to slow down. Your machine is just working and moving, and you have time to breathe and think. Annual goals should be lofty. They should be stretch goals. You should have a lack of clarity about how you're going to achieve them. Benjamin Hardy and Blake Erickson refer to impossible goals, which are these things that when you say them out loud, you're like, that is not possible. I have no idea how I could do that, let alone how I could do it in that time frame. And I'm not suggesting that you create an impossible goal with a 1-year horizon. What I am suggesting is that you set goals that you're not quite sure how you're going to achieve. That means you have a goal. And it's okay that the goal changes over time, so you're not married to it forever, but what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to set the bar. You want to be able to chart the course for how to get there. And so being intentional with how to do that is what you do in the fourth quarter where you have plenty of time. You know, if you think about it in the olden days, let's go back to the olden days, prior to Waze and Google Maps and little phones in your hand, what you had to do when you were deciding to embark on a road trip is you had to go get a bunch of paper maps. Paper. And you had to take a highlighter and figure out where you were going to go and how you were going to do things. And that's what I'm recommending that you do for the 6 weeks between Black Friday and the end of the year. Go get the paper maps. Lay them all out. Evaluate what you plan to do and if it's wise. You know, if as you're charting a course to drive across the country and you're doing it in the winter, you know, you might decide to take the southern route because you want to avoid snow. And if you just say, what's the shortest distance, you may end up in mountains where you get trapped and you can't drive through and you're delayed for days at a time because you didn't think about all of the conditions. That's why it's important for you to be methodical and take your time when you're goal setting. Now, you'll know in your gut, this is the revenue target I want to hit, or this is how many people I want to serve, or this is how many widgets I want to sell. You'll have some sort of big, lofty number, which is just a result. But what I'm talking about is you want to set the bar around the sort of business that you want to have and about the other trappings for that result that you want to achieve. 26 goal setting in the fourth quarter of 2025 is going to be the difference between you hitting the ground running in January and you stalling out because you don't know where you're headed. Number 5, survival guide for the holiday season. Follow the plan. Do not panic. Full stop. Follow the plan. Don't panic. You built the plan. You built the plan because you assessed all of the data that you had and you determined the best course of action. So if things don't unfold exactly the way that you are predicting, take a deep breath and be patient and assess. It may mean that you need to adjust the plan. Adjusting the plan happens when you are intentional and you are making data-driven decisions. They're not happening. Don't adjust the plan when you're being emotional, because you're reacting to a lack of reality. You're reacting to your past experiences. You're not reacting to what's right in front of you. So the reality about the holiday season is that it is incredibly short and there is no time to course correct. So the best thing that you can do is execute the plan to the best of your ability and watch what happens. Sometimes you can make microscopic shifts in order to impact something. Let's say that your sales are not hitting the mark. Let's say you laid a plan and people just aren't buying the way that you wanted to. Well, then maybe you have a flash sale for one of the days and everything's 40% off for 12 hours or something. You can do iterations, but for the most part, stick to the plan because you built that plan based on what you knew was the best likelihood to achieve the result that you had. When you are making panicked, rushed decisions because you're not seeing the result that you want or because you're being impatient, it means that you are putting the entire plan in goal attainment at risk. Number 6. Know your contingency plans and when to trigger them. So, if you didn't listen to the fourth quarter planning podcast, go listen to it. Because what we covered is that not only do you build what I refer to as the happy path plan, this is our goal, this is how we're going to get to it, this is exactly how we're going to execute, this is the happy path. It's sunny over here and it's flat and it's easy and there's water stations all over the place. You also need to build contingency plans. What if a roaring stream crosses the path? Then what do I do? Oh, well, I put on my waders and I walk across. Or, oh, well, I walk back a quarter of a mile and I go right and then I go over and I go around and I do whatever. So when we planned fourth quarter, what we did is we built a happy path. So in the ideal scenario, this is what we're going to do. And then we did a little doomsday analysis, otherwise known as devil's advocate, where we looked at the plan and we said, where could it fail? Where could it break? Where could there be problems? Where could panic set in and something could happen? Where could I be wrong? And then we built alternative paths. We built other plans. If this thing happens, then I do this. This is also known as risk mitigation. When we build plans inside of the corporate setting, the whole point of building the plan is to de-risk the situation. Generally speaking, everybody knows how to get to the result that we're trying to get to because we're all professionals and we've done it a bunch of times. Planning de-risks the actual activity. And so what we focus on mostly inside of corporate is where could things go wrong and how do we stop it? And so that's what you need to do as well. When I talk to you about fourth quarter planning, really what I advised is you look at the history, build a plan based on what you know works. This is not the time to experiment. This is the time to do more of the things that work. And then once you have that plan in place, that's really like if all of the cards were dealt correctly and I got blackjack in every hand, this is how it would go. And then you say, so what if they don't get dealt the way that I want? Then what do I do? And all this is planning on top of planning on top of planning. You don't panic and you don't get impatient if you have plans. It's when your plan is incomplete and lacks these contingency plans that you panic and make bad decisions. So when I was telling you in item number 5 of the survival guide to not panic, what I was really hinting at was that if you have built your plan with the contingency plans in place, panic doesn't even happen because you have another plan for the plan. That's it. You have a plan for the plan. It's super simple. Now, you can't plan for every scenario. Something's going to happen that you didn't predict. That's just reality. I will never forget that one trip we took to Disneyland. It was my son's birthday, I believe. And we were really excited. He was going to get to celebrate his birthday at Disneyland. It was like a super cool thing. And we went the first night, everything was fine, and then we got the next day, and he had the stomach flu. And we didn't know how to handle stomach flu, not at home. And so the kids went with their dad, the not sick ones, to the park, and I stayed with the sick kid. And then all of a sudden the water went out where we were. And here's the kicker. When you have a kid that has a stomach flu and getting sick, you need running water. Like, you need the toilet to function. And remember, we weren't at home, so we didn't have things like, I don't know, a bucket. I don't even think we had a bowl. And this was one of those situations where, like, the plan was to go to Disneyland. The plan was to have his birthday at Disneyland. The plan was like that. There was no plan for what if a kid gets sick. Like, we didn't have any medicine. We didn't have any of the things that we had. Forever and ever after that, we traveled with medicine. Forever and ever after that, we hand sanitized the holy heck out of everybody. Forever and ever after that, we had multiple places for children to sleep so that they weren't stuck in the same bed with a sick person hoping that we didn't get them sick. We built contingency plans. So what ended up happening is that we built a plan that didn't have any contingency in it because we couldn't see anything other than the happy path, that we were going to Disneyland with the kid to celebrate his birthday. And then once we experienced something very different than the happy path, we knew to be prepared differently. And so that meant that the next time that somebody was sick when we were traveling, we were ready to go. We knew what to do. We had been there and we had done that. And so when you plan fourth quarter, all I'm advising you to do is to take your lessons learned, look at what could potentially happen. If we had done a little bit of alternative path imagining with that trip, I'm sure we would have landed at, well, what happens if a kid gets sick? And as soon as we said that, we're like, oh, we probably need to take some medicine with us, or oh, we probably need to take more clothes than we planned, or like whatever it might be. It just was like following the bouncing ball. We didn't do it. So, might have been a bad analogy, but avoid that pain that we experienced in real time at the happiest place on earth by building contingency plans. Okay. Changing the tune for a second. The next survival guide for the holiday season that I'm going to give you is about gifting. Now, just about everybody will either gift employees or gift clients or some combination of the two. I'm going to die on this hill forever and ever and ever. Do not give logoed gifts. Nobody wants them. Nobody. The best gift to give employees all the time is cash. They will be grateful for it. They will use it. It will make them happy. If you are giving client gifts, my recommendation is for you to create some sort of experiential situation and to give them gifts that complement one another. For example, if your clients are coaching clients and one of the things that you recommend to them is that they journal, then perhaps what you do is you give them a really nice journal with a really nice pen, with maybe a nice mug and some tea or like whatever, or a candle, but give them an experiential gift if you are gifting clients. Nothing that has your company name on it, has your logo, like it can be in your colors or whatever, but as long as they're not like, hey, our color is neon green, everybody gets neon green stuff, right? Like the whole, like, think about it. You're giving a gift. You're not paying for advertising. And I know it is like so convenient to give a gift that's dual purpose in your mind, but nobody uses it. Nobody wants to walk around with a Yeti with your logo on it. Nobody wants to do that. So as much as it seems to make sense to you, the recipient doesn't see it that way. So to the best of your ability, if you were giving gifts to employees, gift them something that they can easily convert to cash. Gift cards, cash bonuses itself, like something along those transactional lines where they get to choose how they spend it without you needing to know about it. If you're gifting clients, just make it something that they're going to use. Now, you're not going to get it completely right. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like, let's say that you assemble something so that they can like enjoy a home cooked meal or something. I don't know, making this up. And maybe you send it to a few people that don't cook. You didn't know, but you're not being offensive. You're not giving them logoed stuff that they don't want. Nobody wants logoed clothing as a holiday gift. Just don't do it. All of these are lessons that I learned from corporate, by the way. So just give them what they want. And if you don't know what they want, ask. Because wouldn't you rather, if you're spending money to gift somebody something, that they would want said gift than be resentful of it? Number 8. Plan your 2026 kickoff with your team now. So in November, schedule when you're going to kick off the year with your team. Make sure that you know everybody's holiday plans, make sure you know when they're back, and make sure that you do it at the appropriate time when you're going to have everybody's attention. If you have a big wind down post-holiday where there's a ton of things that have to get done after the holiday season wraps, maybe this is an end of January activity. If you don't have that, then maybe it's week 2 of January. This is completely up to you, but make sure that everybody knows this is when we're kicking off the year. So we're going to cover goals. This is when we're going to talk about KPIs. This is when we're going to talk about their plans for the year. And then make sure that you intentionally plan for it. Block off the time. Make sure that everybody understands their responsibility. If they need to show up and present or communicate something, make sure that they know that. And then honor it. Don't move the meeting. Don't forget to be prepared. Just follow through. And number 9 is take time off. Like, really. I know that at the top of this, we got to number 2 and I told you to schedule your time off, but I'm actually coming back around at number 9 and I'm telling you to take time off. Take it off. You are not winning an award for hardest working entrepreneur. Ed Mylett talks about separation season all of the time, and that's a period where people kind of like relax a little bit. Holiday season and summer vacation is usually the 2 times of year where if you continue to grind, you're going to get significantly further along than anybody else. Is absolutely true, and there is a way that you can grind and take time off at the same time, because the average person is taking 3 to 6 weeks off during the holiday season. If you take 1, you're still ahead. Do not tell yourself the lie that in order for you to get ahead, you have to hustle all the way through and not take any breaks. It's bullshit, all of it. You are not going to do your team or yourself any service by being exhausted when you get to January. There is this book that I just finished reading called Peak Performance. I highly recommend that you read it, and it talks all about the necessity of rest. My goal for 2026, I'm trying real hard right now, but my goal for 2026 is to honor the lessons that I learned in Peak Performance and make them a part of my life. Rest is one of the most difficult things for me. It always has been. I do not sit still well. I just had a Sunday where I'm resting all day. And you know what I did? I built a table. I brought it to my office. I reorganized my office. I did so many things that were not rest. And I'm really trying to commit to taking a moment every week to slow down and rest, because I now understand that in order for me to achieve the goals that I want, rest needs to be a part of the equation. So make sure that you're really taking time off for yourself. And then number 10, I started this podcast because I told you how much I love the holiday season. This is a season of energy and goodwill and prosperity and hope. And you are so lucky to be doing the work that you're doing. And often it doesn't feel that way. But number 10 is enjoy the moment. Enjoy it. I wish that I could go back sometimes to those days where I got to stand in the middle of a bustling store and watch all the energy and the excited shoppers and the kids running around and the frenzy, and even feel the exhaustion at the end of the day for knowing that I worked really hard. The holiday season is magical. No matter what you're doing, who you're selling, who you're helping, who you're spending time with, it's just magical. So take it in. Enjoy it. Find the joy of the season. When you do, those that you serve and sell to and support and lead, they're going to find the joy too. I wish you the very happiest of Thanksgiving and Black Friday weekends. And until I see you again, friends, please know that you are wise and you are strong and you are capable, and I believe in you.